was 25, I saved my first $100,000 while making below the median income. I was cleaning office buildings at night. And these are 20 of the exact habits that helped me get there, including some of them that I think honestly went a little too far and I now regret, but this really worked. And look, I'm not gonna tell you to skip nice coffee or Netflix or anything like that. In fact, we're gonna start off with some that were very extreme, even though very efficient. And then we'll get to some more of the calmer, more tame ones at the end. I just gotta wait for this. Now, before any of this worked, I had to do one thing that I think is the reason I was able to leave my day job at 24, and that is that I had a crystal clear goal. I happened to get lucky and read some books early, and I found out that if you had a 75% savings rate, you could retire in 7 years, kind of what ended up happening. And because I really didn't like my job, I dropped out of high school, I didn't really have a lot of other skills. I didn't see another path besides this extreme frugality as a way to get control of my life and kind of live life on my terms. I was able to stick with all of these things. So if you're just starting out and you want to get control of your finances, know that if you save 75% of your income, you can retire in 7.1 years. Whereas if you save 5%, it's going to take 66 years. And so having that as kind of a clear thing to shoot for really helped the rest of this be possible. Now, I'll just tell you right now, it's probably not going to happen if you don't have a clear goal and you also don't have a strong why. Like, we wanted to have kids who can make our house a mess. And I wanted to make sure I was home with those kids. And that's why we set and worked towards this kind of like extreme level of frugality and stuck with it for that long. All right, so let's talk about some of those extreme habits. To start off with, we ate out maybe like 2 to 3 times per year. And yes, I do realize this is extreme, but when you're not making much money, that saved us thousands of dollars a year compared to most of our friends. When you're spending like $50 to $100 a week going out to eat, that's not even like going out that much. That really adds up. And so for literally 2 to 3 years straight, we almost never went out to eat, ever. It just didn't happen, and it worked. The chicken crisis. Now, speaking of food, we also ate mostly chicken and like rice and beans, sometimes noodles, for multiple years. In fact, it has gotten so bad that I don't really eat chicken anymore. I have it like maybe once or twice a month, but I really don't like chicken breasts anymore because I had that for probably, well, it happened for a while actually. Probably like 5 to 7 years straight, every single day, 2 meals a day. I'm eating chicken breast because that is the cheapest form of protein that I could get, along with like the cheapest type of carbs I could get, potatoes, rice, stuff like that. So while that did, again, save us thousands of dollars over the course of years, I now really dislike chicken. Might have gone too far with that. And speaking of going too far, we spent about $2,000 on our wedding. My wife spent about $2,000 on our wedding. I put my whole life savings into our first rental, but this is one of those I kind of regret. And I think we're gonna do like a 10-year anniversary party type deal coming up. But my wife got her dress from a thrift store, which is like, that's totally fine. But we didn't pay for a photographer. We didn't have like a reception afterwards. It was like a potluck and we kind of like skipped out on it. It was like everything was done as cheaply as humanly possible. And because of that, we don't have a lot of photos of it. We didn't get a lot of experiences that come with having a wedding. And looking back, I think we went a little bit too far. Now, like we could have done more stuff for pretty cheaply. It was just like we were going so extreme that maybe it was a bit too much. But that being said, a lot of people, I think, go the other way and they spend like 10, 20 grand on their wedding, maybe more. And they start off their lives together with like destroying their finances. And we started off by buying a rental, which really helped. So we just kind of did that instead of a wedding. On that note, we also didn't even like really have a honeymoon. It was a gift that my dad gave us, was like a hotel somewhere. So while our honeymoon was really cool, probably cost us like $300-400 for the whole weekend that we were there, which we had a great time. I shot my first video ever there. Like it was great. You don't need to spend money to have fun. But that being said, that leads into the next point, which is we missed out on a lot of experiences. And I wish we had spent a little bit more money and time on traveling. Literally when we booked our honeymoon like a year later, because that's when I had time to do it, we just Googled the cheapest places to go and we went to Belize because it was literally the cheapest place that we could go. And that's why we picked it. That being said, Belize was awesome. it was sweet. We rented these little scooters instead of renting a car because, again, it was cheaper. We ended up finding little tacos that were like 50 cents each, eating a ton of those. But everything at that point revolved around saving money. And looking back, we probably could have done a few more trips. We didn't have to travel like once a year, once every 3 years or whatever it ended up being. That was also before we had kids. And I feel like it would have been cool to be able to do a few more things before that. That being said, now that we have 2 kids, we have complete freedom with them. We get to travel a ton. It's just, but maybe it would have been okay to get here, 6 months later. I don't know. The thrift store paint strategy. So when we were renovating our first apartment, what we sunk our whole life savings into, it was like a multifamily. We bought everything for that, for the most part, from thrift stores. When we wanted to paint a wall, we'd get paint from a thrift store. We needed wood, we'd look for like ding ones. I fixed up and furnished an apartment for 50 bucks and it looked terrible. But the thing is, whatever house you have, eventually within like a couple months, it just becomes where you live. Whether it's big, whether it's small, whether it's really nice or not that nice, it's eventually just where you live. And honestly, I think getting stuff from thrift stores, especially for like remodels, is like a lot more fun. So that's one that was kind of extreme, but it was also fun. And while I'm right here, we have bought every appliance that we've ever got, except for maybe one, in dented or dinged sections. There's one point where every time I was going into Lowe's, I was looking at the back section, find dented and dinged appliances. Even if we didn't need them, I would buy them, put them in the trunk of my car, drive them home, and then sell them and make a couple $100s. And this was like an extra side hustle I had of just like flipping dented and dinged appliances. And also besides these ones which came with the house, that's all we've ever done. And honestly, if you can save like $1,000 on a stupid fridge or 50% off like minimum because something has a ding in it, which is probably gonna happen anyways, it's a no-brainer. Now, a common mistake I see a lot of people make is letting cash sit in a checking account earning basically nothing. After I started building up my savings, I wanted my money to actually grow, and that's when I started investing. Now, I'll use Moomoo as an example here. It's a global trading platform with over 27 million users and actually sponsor of today's video. But more importantly, here's how I actually use it to invest my money. First, I invest a portion of it through their platform with 0% commissions on ETFs, stocks, and even options so that I'm not losing money with fees every time that I trade. And for funds that I'm not personally ready to invest yet, I use their cash sweep program. So instead of my money sitting idle, it actually earns money. And listen to this, right now they're offering a limited time 8.1% APY for the first 3 months and then 4.1% after that. That's crazy. Now, if you're thinking I don't know enough about investing, don't worry. Moomoo has an AI assistant built right in. This thing is sick. You can just ask it any question about stocks or market data and you get clear answers. And on top of that, the app includes free Morningstar research and the Wall Street Journal news. This is perfect if you want to do like a 10-minute read or just build up your knowledge over time. The platform is perfect for beginners, but it also has a lot of powerful tools if you want to start really diving deep, and it's perfect for investing your money without the complexity. And here's the best part, new users get up to $1,000 of Nvidia shares when you deposit the required amount. So if you're starting your investing, you might as well grab that extra bonus on top of all the tools. So check out my link below and please don't let your money sit there and just do nothing. There's a link down below where you can check out the QR code right there. Now, I also learned to DIY everything. And I think this is something that a lot of people just don't believe that they can do. I'd never done anything besides paint my room. And I ended up renovating an entire apartment. I tiled multiple showers. I learned how to put down flooring. I learned plumbing, basic electrical. We refinished cabinets. And between the couple apartments that we fixed up, that saved us probably tens of thousands of dollars just learning to DIY, and you have those skills for the rest of your life. I feel like this is something people should do more of, is learning how to change out a toilet. It's incredibly easy. Learning how to put down tile or paint or just do basic things. Most of them, once you get started, they're not that hard. Let's talk about this. So for multiple years, I only bought refurbished Google Pixels off of Amazon because they were like $100. And only when I became a full-time content creator did I ever switch over to iPhone because I needed something with a better camera, and people kept getting mad at me in the group chats. But so many people spend $1,000 on a phone every year, every other year when there's no need for it. And just having an off-brand name that literally does 98% of the same stuff, besides your text bubbles are a different color, was totally worth it for us. For most people, you don't need to have the newest thing. You can have something that's 5 years old. You can have something that's a different brand. It won't change your life, but it will change your bank account. And another thing that can change your bank account is subscribing to this channel, because we're on I don't know what I'm saying. It does really help though, because we're trying to get to 1 million subscribers. I think that would be insane if we got to 1 million. So drop a like, subscribe. It really helps us out. When I say us, I mean, it helps me out. Now we also have a no gifts policy. This is something we started to do not only because of minimalism, but also because of the financial aspect of it. Every time somebody has a birthday or Christmas, there's always different events where like everybody just feels obligated to get everybody they know random crap that person is just gonna donate in like 6 months. And so when we realized that was happening, we just kind of told our family and friends like, hey, we're not gonna buy you stuff. We'll all go out to dinner together. We'll all do something together. Like that's totally fine, but we're not just gonna buy you random stuff just because. And please don't buy us random stuff just because. So while we still do gifts occasionally and for the kids and stuff, we kind of stopped doing that for each other and for adults. Like if we need something, we get it. Or if we wanna bless somebody, we can just do that throughout the year. We don't have to wait for a birthday, but we're not obligated to get like expensive stuff or just random crap for random people. Just because it's like normal, because that's how, you know, companies make money, doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Now, another small one, but kind of interesting, is the pre-cut math. So if you get like pre-cut fruits and vegetables, they cost so much more than the stuff that is just, you're cutting it up yourself. So like for 1 minute, you're paying sometimes up to like double the price. So that's something we really try to avoid, is just paying exuberant amounts for like very small amounts of convenience. We lived with one car for multiple years. Well, yes, it did create a little bit of headaches. It wasn't necessary. When I looked at the math of like owning a car, which even if you have the car paid off, you have depreciation, you have insurance, you have inspection, registration. We're talking like thousands of dollars a year just to own a car. If we're only driving it like once every other week or something like that, because we both work from home, then it was very hard to justify having 2 cars and not just taking that money and investing it. So for years, while it was more inconvenient, we just used one car. In fact, pretty much until we had kids. And then the cars that we did have, we've always paid for cars. Like I started with a $5,000 Honda Civic that I saved up years for to pay cash for. And same thing with Meredith's car. It was a couple $1,000 Toyota something, I don't know. But we never got nicer cars until we were at a place where we could still afford to buy them in cash without it having to be a huge expense. Most people don't realize that your housing and your transportation are the 2 biggest expenses you have. So if you can lower those by getting cheap used cars for a while, or not having an extra car, that can be one of the biggest things to save money, more than the coffee, more than like almost anything else. Your house, food, and transportation make a huge difference. And I guess while we're on housing, I did do house hacking. I've talked about this before, but we pretty much bought a multifamily with a first-time home buyer loan. We lived in one, rented out the others, and ended up being able to live for free that way. And we charge less rent than anywhere else. And we were able to provide housing and like haven't raised rent in like 7 years on the people who are there. So it helps us a lot and it helps other people a lot. And so that saved us tens of thousands of dollars. And we also took it to another level. And this is actually one of the hacks that let me leave my job almost instantly, is in that 3-unit. One of the apartments had 4 separate bedrooms. So we put in one more bathroom and we rented out 4 individual bedrooms on Airbnb. And that allowed me to make about $2,000 profit per month after paying mortgage, taxes, and insurance and living in that same building. And since we had almost no expenses, it helped me almost instantly leave my job. Listen, sometimes you gotta be creative. And that's what I did with side hustle stacking. I gave up video games, I gave up TV, watching TV shows, I gave up even listening to music, and I side hustle stacked. I had my main job and I had 2 other side hustles minimum that I was doing at the same time. So I was cleaning office buildings, I started a YouTube channel, I was doing concrete and like construction during the daytime, and I was also a real estate agent. So I had everything going on at once, and I gave up leisure activities in order to earn more money. 2 of those side hustles failed, and like a dozen other ones, but one of them, YouTube, took off because I just kept doing it. And so I would always recommend that if you don't like your main job that you're at, use the nights and weekends to build the life that you want, whether that's fitness or making money. Try to build it on the nights and weekends. It's incredibly fun if you like what you're doing. By the way, if you want to start a YouTube channel, I have a free mini course down below. It can really help you get started with a little bit of a jump start. Now, the next thing we did was trying to avoid lifestyle inflation. See, when most people earn more money, they spend more money, but we kept our expenses the same despite how much I earned. Like, we lived off of less than what I made at my main job. Plus, I had all these other jobs that were making little bits of money, and all of that went to saving or investing. And we never changed our lifestyle despite how much more money we started earning. And that was the big thing that separated us from most of the people who you get a raise, you get a new house, you get a raise, you get a new car, get a raise, you spend more on something, and you didn't really get a raise, you just spent more money. Now, the next one is that this isn't the end game. Frugal living should not be the thing you do forever, but no matter how much money you're making, you can retire in 7 years if you save 75%. I know, I literally did it. And you can do it even faster if you start building income streams outside of that. And if you want to calculate how close you are to like being able to leave your job, I've made a free calculator with kind of like my mindset and how I ran the numbers and was able to do it faster than 7 years. So I'll leave that down below. It's totally free. You can check that out and see, you know, like what your true wealth is. But frugal living shouldn't be the end goal. It should be a tool that gets you started until your money can start making money. And then it's okay to enjoy yourself, to travel a little bit, to have some fun, to be able to actually like eat red meat and fruit. You don't have to go too extreme unless you really want to get there fast, in which case. All right, work. Wait, we're not done yet. If you enjoyed this video, you will love this video. I'm telling you right now, you will love it. It'll help you save money. And if that's something you're not into, why did you watch this long? Tell me that, so you can't argue with this type of logic. That is cold now. Ugh.